Catwalk. The catwalk. Show your stuff on the catwalk. Do your thing, show your bling. Make it look good on the catwalk. Show your stuff on the catwalk. Do your thing, show your bling. Make it look good on the catwalk. On the catwalk.
Welcome, everyone. I am so excited about tonight's. Oh, I use that so excited. Always. So excited. I am thrilled. How about that? To be here with you tonight. Tonight, we are doing an upcycle, and we're going to take some of those sewing inspirations that we've seen on Instagram. Tonight's inspiration is by none other than, I hope I pronounce her name correctly, Benjula Holmes. And she has done a lot of upcycles. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, so Shadowhawk said, proud of you for your mic being on from the jump. And Reaper says, LOL, let's go. So I am thrilled. Again, this Instagram influencer, Benjula Holmes, she does amazing upcycles with just simple things. So one of the things, well, two items that she's done that have inspired me has been her necktie upcycles, and then she did a pair of jeans where she made it into a belt. And I love belts, I love accessories, so these are right up my alley. So I want to start off by showing you some of the ties that I found at my local women's thrift shop. So this is one, and these are men's ties. This one is by Isaac Mizrahi. So if you can see that, and I just love the blue because I thought it went well with denim. It's more of a royal blue with white and black. It's a plaid with white and black plaids running through it. So, and I did launder these. They smell so good. I used a lingerie detergent to actually wash them, and I washed them by hand. And I tried to find, most of the time, just in case you decide to do something like this, you can find the tag inside the top part of the tie, and it will tell you what exactly the tie is made of. This particular tie, it was handmade and it's 100% polyester, and it does say dry clean only. But I'm going to show you or tell you a trick when you want to hand wash something like this, because if you can notice, it doesn't even look really wrinkled. And I'll tell you why after I show you the ties, and then I'm going to show you the one that I'm going to use tonight for an inspiration. So this is by Barrington. Let's see. And it's 100% silk. This is 100% silk, and it is a lot softer. It was made in Korea of imported silk. And it also has this little piece to help with stability of the tie. Plus it's lined. If you look, you can see that it's lined. I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to upcycle some type of belt. And so I'm saving this one to do with two other ties, try to make a different upcycle look. And so this is the one that inspired me tonight, and it's by Club Room. And I just thought it was a really nice tie. I like the colors, the green. That green is very popular right now. Thank you, Reaper. Reaper says she loves all the tips. So, oh, my hands look a little ashy. Well, they just gonna have to look ashy tonight because I don't have any lotion in here. And if you had to see how I got in my sewing area tonight, you'd be laughing because I needed an extra little table. So I have to squeeze through. So we're just gonna work with what we've got. So this is for tonight's inspiration. So what Bingela, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, what she does, she used a glue gun and she used denim scraps. This is from a pair of jeans that I cut up to upcycle. Actually, I made a denim. Oh, sorry, I'm going to have to readjust my camera when I start. It just fell. So we will get that going. Get it set up when I have to switch screens. But anyway, so I have, and I also have, because I sew, I have denim fabric. So I'm going to use, and I use this for my hoodie project that I did. So I'm going to possibly use some denim fabric. She used, oh, I'll get to that in a second. I'm just excited, so I keep skipping stuff. This is a piece that I took off of a thrifted dress. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not, but it's just so pretty. I may cut a piece off and still leave some for another dress or something. I'm not certain. And these are some jeans that I thrifted from Georgia, from Value Village. And I am not going to cut the top part because I am going to do a belt out of the top part, and out of the bottom I may cut something for the tie. So you can use any. Reaper says she loves my enthusiasm. Love your enthusiasm. Well, thank you. I get excited about projects where I can be creative, and honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do. I watched her, Bingela, I watched her do her upcycled tie, and I haven't watched it since she did it. I watched it maybe once or twice. So I'm just going to go based on the inspiration, and then I am going to create something that I would want to wear. And again, if you like this project, it's something that you can easily do. Now, she used glue sticks and glue, hot glue. And I may use hot glue, and I also may use I may actually sew some pieces. It just depends on how I decide to do it tonight. But I have my sewing machine here, so if I need to move it forward, I can do that as well. Now, the other thing that you're going to have to gather for this project, and again, let me tell you, she's on Instagram, so I tagged her name in the title, so you can go to Instagram and put her name in and follow her. And also, she pinned, I noticed that she pinned the upcycle tie, and she pinned the upcycle denim belt, because she got so many requests for people to do these types of projects, and they're really cute, and hers are no sew. So just so you know, the ones that she's done are no sew. She just cut and sew. She didn't even use a pattern. But being the designer that I am, of course I had to make a pattern. So out of my poster board, I cut a tie. I cut the little insert if I decide to line the tie like the real tie. That would be the lining part right there. And then this one, if I actually do it like a real tie, then you see the area where it's folded. On a real tie, that's what you're seeing with those edges. See how you see the inside part? That's the folded over part. And just so you know, on a real tie, it's always cut on the bias. Last week, we talked about the straight grain, the cross grain, and bias. In order for a tie to tie properly, it has to be cut on bias. And so if you look at the plaid, if I turn it, let's see, if I turn it this way, wait. Okay, if I turn it this way, this would be the straight grain right here. Remember, we pulled on it and we could see what part was the straight grain. So if you pull on it, you see it's not going anywhere. But if I pull on the tie itself, do you see how it stretches a little? And so that's what gives you that beautiful knot on your tie. And if you notice, I have a pin here, because one of the things that Benjula said to do was to decide where you wanted your tie to hit you. And so I decided that I wanted mine to hit like right at my waist. So you can't really see that, but this would hit me right at my waist on a shirt or a blouse. And I figured if I don't like it that length, I could always cut it off. If I wanted it shorter, then I'll be able to make it shorter. So now let's talk about the things that we could use to embellish this tie. She used pins that she thrifted. I have some that I have been gifted. Either I've purchased it or I gifted it. So this is one. This is one. I just recently purchased this one. Let me close it so you can see it. I just recently purchased this one that says Faith. And I had this one, which looks like a little brooch. Most of these are brooches. I doubt if I used this one, but I just wanted to show it to you. I don't remember where I got this one from. I think somebody gifted me that one. So, I mean, I could use it on a tie depending on the look I was going for. And then I think I confiscated this from one of my children. It's a tie clip. This is U.S. Navy. So I might use that and put some rhinestones on it. Totally out of regs, but hey, I'm not the one in the military, so I do what I want to do. Okay, so those are some of the brooches that I have, and we will figure out once we get to that part which one looks cute, which one we're going to use. Now, oh, I got another one. Oh my gosh, I forgot about these. I thought I had pulled all of them out. Now, just so you know, I did not thrift any of these pins for this project. I already had all of this stuff. So just keep that in mind. So I can swap up the look with whatever I'm wearing, because that's the beauty of this project. You can change out the pins based on what you're wearing. Are you going to switch screens? Yes, I am. Okay, this is a little hanger pin that I have. This is another brooch. After I finish chatting, I am going to switch screens. And while what I was doing was just taking stuff out of the bags, I didn't expect you to be able to see that part. When I get ready to work on the project, I'm going to switch screens. Okay, this is another pin. Another brooch. Then the holidays are coming. I found this cute little turkey that somebody gave me, or either I purchased. So that could be on a pin. I mean on a tie. And then I must have purchased this from Market. It's a crown with rhinestones. And then the last thing is this little angel with the holidays coming up. So we will see which one I decide to use on this particular project, because I don't know at this point. Then the last thing that you're going to need that Benjula talked about is some pearls, if you want, that's going to hold the tie in place. For me, also, I want to make it so it'll fit this, so I could just put it around my neck. So this is something, a silver piece that I have that needs to be polished. Or you could simply use, I had some black ribbon. Oh, here it is. So just a half, this is about 3/8 of an inch ribbon that you could weave through the tie at the top when we begin. So let's get into this. And mind you, I may have to fix my screen, so bear with me. I apologize for this. It just moved, it fell. I had it hooked up and it fell. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So, let me see. Let me see if I can expand my, oh, sorry. I am so sorry. I'm having technical difficulties tonight. Okay, I'm going to have to do something else because this is being ugly to me. It worked fine. while I'm working on this, I'm gonna just chat with you while I'm trying to get this squared away. I don't know why it's acting crazy tonight. Okay, let's see. That's better. Okay. Let's see if we can widen the screen. Well, I'm not being successful widening the screen. So I'm going to have to work with what I have for right now till I can get technical support on the line. Oh my goodness. Hello, All About Glam. So we're going to put the ties away that we're not using, which are these. We're not going to use those. And I'm going to put this, move all of this stuff out of my way for right now so that we could have a nice surface for you to let's move that out of the way. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I was hearing noises. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is the tie that we're working with. And I already put a pin where I want to cut the tie. So this is the end of the tie right there. So I am just going to take my ruler and I am just going to cut, and I'm going to leave a little bit to turn under. I'm going to leave about 1.25 inches to turn under. I know it seems a shame to cut this tie, right? But I am going to wear it. So I'm just going to cut it right there. And then we're going to use the other end once we get started. And again, I'm doing this by inspiration of how she did hers. This is going to end up being the little part that the ribbon, or I want to make sure this piece can fit through there. So just so you could see. So once this is done and it's on, when I wear this, I would be able to wear it just like that. So that would be how the tie would stay on. So that's why I left a little bit. I left actually 1.25 inches at the top. So now I am going to put this aside, and I'm going to take the leg of the pants that I had, and this has a little stretch in it, so that's what makes it so nice. I am going to take, now I made a pattern. What Benjula did, she just put this down, traced around it. She traced around it and then just cut it out. But I made a pattern, so I'm going to use my pattern for this. And I don't think I want a raw edge, so I'm going to, I think it's cool too. So what I'm going to do is, because I don't want the raw edge of the tie showing. So I made a pattern for mine that's the width of this leg. And I'm going to take some chalk. Let's see if you can see that. I'm trying not to disturb this contraption, but yeah, that's a little bit better. Okay, so you can see more of what I'm doing. So I'm taking the chalk and I put notches. These are called notches. What you see me, these are called notches. And I have a little device where I put those notches in the pattern, because what that does, it's going to allow me to fold on that line without actually putting another mark up there. So I am tracing around the bottom and I'm marking my notches. That's all I'm doing. Okay. Now, one thing she did that I'm not going to be able to do, maybe I can use the end part of this jean. So I'm going to save that. So for right now, this is what we have. So I'm just going to start cutting. And anytime you're cutting, actually, you know what? Before I cut, this is a trick that you can do. I want to have a little bit more stability to mine. So I have some knit. This is a knit interfacing. So I am going to put this underneath this piece of fabric and I am going to cut it both at the same time. I'm going to pin it. And basically I'm going to get like the grain line of this knitted interface. This is a knit interfacing that I use a lot in the construction of my garments. It's really nice. It's not like that paper stuff. So now I'm just gonna pin. I had some straight pins. My glue gun's getting in the way. So I have some straight pins. Everything is dropping tonight, but I need to get that. I just sat my glue gun down on another surface because it kept falling. Okay, so I'm just gonna pin this. And you always pin, I didn't on this side, but you pin at right angles when you're pinning, and that way what you're pinning together doesn't move. So if this was a pattern, this is how you want. And actually, okay, it's going to be okay. This is really, I could have made the interfacing piece smaller, which I might still end up cutting. So now I'm just going to go ahead and cut that out. And I'm holding my hand on one side and cutting with my right hand. You never want to cut like this in the air, because then you're not going to get the two pieces cut at the same time. So always keep your fabric flat on the surface when you're cutting. And again, what Bendula did, this edge was her final edge. She wanted that raw, funky look. I want a more tailored look, so that's why I think I'm going to fold my edges in. I can always change my mind. You're the designer when you're working on something like this. So you get to decide how you're going to do it. And we're saving all of our scraps because we want to be able to use these. So now you can see that I have the back cut and I have the front cut. So what I'm going to do now is, which you're not going to be able to, well, maybe I could do it right here so you can see what I'm doing. I am going to press, I have a little iron. You see my little iron? That's just water from my little, it's supposed to steam, but it's not steaming. I don't know, I may have dropped it too many times. So I'm just going to press these together. I think it's on. Let's see. It does have a temperature up here, so I'm trying to make it hotter, and it got hotter. Now these straight pins are not glass head, so I cannot iron on top of these pins, so I'm taking them out. And hey, I may decide to leave my edge raw like Bendula did. So I'm just pressing. And what I'm doing is adhering the interfacing. I'm adhering it to the inside of the tie. And just FYI, make sure you have the sticky side to your fabric, because had I not checked, it would not have become fused to the one side. So right now, if you look, it's fused. So what I'm going to do now is I am on those edges where I have my notches, like this was a notch. And what I'm going to do is I have these little clips that I bought off of Amazon. So I'm just going to clip it where I'm going to press it. I have a notch up here that I made. So I'm going to clip it there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I'm going to do that up top. Then I'm going to press that down with my iron, because remember I said I'm adding some steps to mine. She did hers, the edges raw, and I didn't know if I wanted to do my edges raw for the outside. And then I'm going to take my clips out. Where did you find that adorable little iron? I think Walmart for like $20, but it was steaming at one point. Now it won't even steam. I did something to it, so I'm gonna have to splurge and go buy another one, because it was just so cute. And one day it just stopped. It just stopped steaming, because it's supposed to steam, and it won't. Like when I would press on that, it would steam, and now it won't steam. Okay. Now this is pretty thick. This is pretty thick. Oh, and I did add a half an inch for the bottom. I did add a half an inch for the edge. So I should have done that before I folded it over. But no harm. Just do it. We could do it now and fold this over. And I am going to glue that down, hot glue that down. So I have a nice little point right here. So I'm going to press that. Okay, so let's turn it over, flip it over, and see what we have. So I'm just pressing that down, and I am going to glue it down so that it stays. Honestly, I would want to line this part, and I did make this pattern so that if I wanted to put a line in here, I could, which I might cut a little piece to put there, which I think I'm gonna do. That's just gonna weight it down a little bit more. So, oh, it's trying to steam. Y'all can't hear that, but it's trying to steam. But it's not steaming. Okay, so now I am going to stuff is just dropping all over the place. But anyway, I'm going to cut this out. I am going to trace around this. This is going to be my lining that I'm going to glue in. Actually, that's not marking. Let's see, I'm going to do it from the other side. It'll be easier to see the white. I'm using plain old chalk like the teachers used to use in school. The kids play with on their little boards. That's what I'm using to mark on this bottom part. Okay, so now I'm just going to cut that out. And by the way, these are Ginger scissors. These are some of the best dressmaker shears. And this pair, if you look closely, it was made in Italy. And I'm told that not all of them have that little writing on it that it was made in Italy. I honestly didn't pay that any attention. I basically, is that the Cricut iron? No, this is not a Cricut iron. The Cricut iron is different because the Cricut iron allows you to heat set vinyl and little vinyl patches, that kind of stuff. It gets to a different temperature. Now the mat that I'm ironing on was made for the Cricut. And you can see where it says this side down. So this was meant to go with the Cricut iron, but because of what it's made out of, it can be used with this. This is just a little steam fast iron that I got from Walmart. So now that I've ironed that, I am going to move my iron out of the way so that we could work with the tie for right now. So I am going to put this on the little piece I just cut. Actually, I'm going to bring that back over because I want to do something. All right, I don't think so. So I'm just gonna put that. Actually, I would actually sew this part on if I was making this for somebody. I would sew it on, but I want that to be. Oh, I'm dropping glue. That lets me know that it is hot and ready to go. So I'm gonna let that dry, that little glue drop. I'm gonna let it dry. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put some hot glue on this part. And again, this is an extra step. Bingala, I keep pronouncing her name incorrectly. So oh, I got glue all over my fingers. She did not do this step. This is just a me step that I'm doing here. And you do not have to do this. You could do it however you want to do it. So, as you can see, that's going to give it a little bit more stability at the bottom, which is what I wanted. I wanted it to be a little bit sturdier. So now, and because this is on an angle, this part here, it's not going to fray. It's not going anywhere. So the fact that we didn't clean finish the edges, that's not a problem. It's not going anywhere. So I'm just going to put some glue right here. And the nice thing about glue, a friend of mine from years ago, I called her the hot glue queen because she glued everything, curtains and pockets on her daughter's jeans. And she was the first person to tell me, oh, did you know it was washable too? So it's like, no, I didn't know that, but that's good to know. So I'm putting glue on the inside to hold those edges down. And this glue gun actually is a cordless. Let's see if you can see that. So I could pull this part out and I can get it from a 1 to a 2, 2 being 1 I think is hotter, 2 it's a 2 temperature glue gun. I really like it. I think I bought it years ago from Michael's. Okay, so now I'm going to glue this part down. So I'm just putting a strip of glue because the nice thing about glue and fabric is that it really does stick well. So there. And if I want to go back and sew a piece of fabric in this part to cover it to make it look neater, I can. Is hot glue better for fabric than E6000? The thing that makes the hot glue better in this case is that it dries immediately. The E6000 glue, it takes a little bit of time. It may take like 24 hours for it to adhere. Whereas I'm going to show you, I'm going to pull on this. Can you see this is already glued down? It's already ready to go. So now, as you can see, I got my neat little tie looking. So what I am going to do, because I like this little, I like the loop that the tie goes under. I'm taking that off because I may use that. So I am not gluing that down because I really like that little piece. So I am going to cut that off. You could use a seam ripper to just cut the threads because this is basically tacked down. So I'm just cutting the thread. It's tacks. Okay, and then this is just tacked into the seam of the tie. So we're going to take that off because we're going to use that. So there, I took that little piece off and I'm going to use that. And then I'm also going to take the label off. I may put the label on the outside. I think she did that as well. She took the, especially if it's a vintage tie and you want to show that it's a vintage tie, use the label again. So I'm just clipping the thread to take the tie label off. Okay, so we got the label off and we may use that or we may not. We may save it for another project. So now, okay, so that's what we have so far. And I want you to see something. I'm going to I'm going to clip. That's where these little clips come in handy. And I'm just going to position these in place. So this is what we've got so far. And if you look on this side, we have the amount that we left to fold over like that. So we can put the pearls through there. So what I'm going to do now, I am going to glue this part to the tie. And I'm going to wait to glue the top part because I'm not certain what I'm going to do there. These little clips are so cute. They come in hand, so handy. Okay, so now what I am going to do is decide. I am going to cut from my jeans that I have, because remember this is an upcycle project. Let me move my glue gun for a moment. And I'm going to move my tie. I like some features on these jeans, like this little pocket here or whatever it is. I am going to cut that off because I am going to use that on the tie. Oh, thank you, Reaper. Reaper loves the music vibes tonight. So I wanted a jazzy feel because like this tie is going to be jazzy, this little thing we're designing here. And I'm always mindful, even when I'm upcycling, I'm always trying to save stuff because I don't know, like I might use parts and need something. So I'm taking my time cutting around this pocket. So now I know I told you guys about cutting up in the air, but for something like this, you almost have to because you're cutting around it. So I'm just cutting around this shape that are on these jeans. Okay, so I got that part off and I am going to, and what I'm going to do is leave like a little seam allowance in case I want to turn that part under or sandwich it between the tie. So I don't want to cut it right up to the edge. So I'm going to cut by eye about 1/2 inch. So I'm just cutting, and these jeans are kind of stretchy, And I thought they were kind of funky looking, and I liked them. So that's why I bought them. But now I may steal one of the belt loops in the back. I don't know. Because I don't have any belt loops for the project that I'm working on. And I would like, she used a belt loop that I thought was pretty cool. Okay, so let's see where she had a pocket. I remember on one of hers that she positioned on her tie. So let's see. I think I might like sandwich that in between. And again, I'm not gluing anything until I'm certain what I want to do. I don't think I like that going straight like that. Let's see. Maybe if I think if I put it on an angle, let me see if I like that. I think I do like it on an angle. So leaving that little part didn't do anything because I think I like that on an angle. And this tie is getting, because I made it double. Thank you so much for the follow, Aiden. Thank you. Party time. Yes. So mine is getting thick, and I know hers probably wasn't as thick as this. So I'm trying to decide how I want to do this. I may even leave that raw edge there. I don't know. So, but I want to position it. And she used a pocket on hers. I just want to play around it with it first before I glue anything, because once you glue it, that's it. Okay, so that's what we have so far. And I'm liking that so far. Now let's take a look at, because she used this part of the tie too. So I know I need some more denim in through here because it's blending too much into the tie itself. So see, I might put that in through here. I'm not certain. I'm just playing. Right now, what you're watching is just me trying to design this and make something different. So I know I'm going to end up cutting some more denim because right now I don't have enough denim, and I want this to be a denim upcycle as well. I may even cut that a little. Let's see, where are my pens? Oh, but we did talk about this piece here. So we want to look at that and see what we have. Okay. The one thing about upcycling is that your work surface does start to get messy. Hello, Hip Hop Harry. Okay, so remember this piece that I showed you? So let's take a look before I cut it, because I could use this on a gown. So even though it's a thrifted piece that I took off a gown, I want to make sure that I am not going to use this for something else. But I really like that. But it does need to be on top of denim. So let me see if I can cut a piece of denim. I don't know. I might like this piece here. I don't know. Let's see. And it's like a quilt. I'm just playing around with some pieces. Ooh, I think I might like that. Let's see if that was in there like that. And I might cut that little edge off, but I think I like this coming like that underneath here. Once I decide what I'm doing, then I will go ahead and glue pieces in place. But I want to see the design first, so it may take a little bit longer because I'm trying to see how I like how it's coming out. So now And I think I do still need a bigger piece because I need something coming down from the top. Ooh, I like that. I do like that piece there. Let's see. I really like this piece, like this total piece here. But now with a beaded piece like this, you cannot you cannot cut in through here. You have to look on the back and actually see where it's stitched because all of that will fall completely apart. So if you look right here, you can see that I could cut that piece off. So I'm going to cut that piece off because I know that I want to use that. So do you see how the beading did not fall apart? It didn't fall apart on this side. So I'm going to do the same thing with this piece on this side. I am going to cut that little bit apart. Trying not to cut the beads because it'll fall apart. So there, I have two pieces. I have this middle piece and one of the beads did, I want to show you, one of the beads did fall off, that little bead, but that's okay. But now I have this piece. If I decide to use it for something else, I can. So let's see, am I going to do something like that? Now keep in mind, I need to decide if I'm going to, that's really pretty. I think it's really pretty. So I need to decide if I'm going to, what kind of pin. Oh, I like that. I think I like that. And I think that part I am not going to glue. I am going to, thank you. Reaper says this is coming out really well. I think it is too. I really like that. And I really like the green. I really like this green trim. And again, I know I took that off of a dress that was either given to me, thrifted to me. I like the denim pieces like that. I think that looks really cool. So now that I know I am going to do that, I am going to start, well, maybe not yet. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. Let me see. Let me make sure I don't want, because she used the end of the tie, like she had that to come around, but I don't know if I need it because I don't think I need it. I'm not going to use it. And that's the thing about when you're just using somebody else's inspiration, they're not doing it because they want you to exactly copy them. They're just showing you, giving you inspiration for what you can do. But I do think I want another piece of this denim. This denim is so cool. So I think I might, I'm looking at this little piece here that has the zigzag. And I think I want to cut a piece of that. I think. So let's see how this looks. And again, these are a pair of jeans that I thrifted. I don't remember how much I paid for them. I know I didn't pay any more than like $5 for them. And I found them in Georgia at Value Thrift, and I went on their last Wednesday at Value Thrift. They mark everything down. I think it's 50% off. Last Wednesday is 50% off. Okay, and this is so many other projects, guys. you always save all of your pieces because you can do other things with it. Okay, so let's see if we like this anywhere on the tie. I wish I had another gray piece, but I don't. But you know what? I really don't think I need it. I hope everybody is doing well. Hey, Chaotic. Nice. Aiden, I'm getting big time early 2000 vibes, which is very much in style. Yes, 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 it is. And so, but I don't think I want to use this piece. It's just throwing off the design. It's not doing anything. Now, I will use this for later. So I think for me, this is going to be the base of what I'm going to work with. So I've got to remember what I just did. So in order to do that, that's the only thing about playing with a design and not knowing what you're going to do. I am going to pin this, and actually I'm going to have to like move this down because I want this to be sewn. I'm not going to cut any more of this off. So I'm going to have to straighten that piece out. So I think that's the way it's going to go, like that. And then I personally, because this piece, I don't want to glue it down. I may put a little tack of glue just to hold it in place, but I don't want to glue it down. So other than maybe putting a few pieces of glue, not pieces, a little few dots of glue. So I'm going to take this off, and I will use that. So I'm deconstructing my design so that I'll know what I'm going to do. All right. So now this is the part where it's like, I just want it to already be done in place so that I don't have to move it. But okay, here we go. So now I've got to move pieces that I already had on. I'm just going to move this. I know where it goes. You know what? This is a good trick. Just kind of outline with the chalk where you want it to go. And then that way you have an idea. And because this is chalk, it's not going to damage my garment. It'll brush right off. So now I know where I want that piece, and I know where I want this piece. So this piece is going to have to move. It's going to have to do something like this. And then I've got to cut this edge because I want that right on the edge of the tie. So I'm just going to cut that little piece off. And then I'm going to put it back to see how it looks. So then it lines up. You can see where I cut that piece off. And then I want, let's see. I want this edge to be completely underneath that. So what I'm going to do, I am going to remove this piece here. And then I'm going to slide this over. I've got a little overhang right here that I want to cut off. Okay, so now that I have this piece, I can go ahead and glue that piece in place. It's not a good idea to be using the glue gun on top of my project. Don't do that. That was not good. That was a bad thing to be doing. Glue on a surface where you know the glue will come off. I could have damaged my project doing that. Don't follow my bad lead. Okay, so now that I got that part, and I know where I want it to pretty much go, it glued down. Come out, wherever you are. Okay, so now I've glued that down. I'm going to glue this a little bit. Now, this part you do have to glue. Is that the peacock dress fabric? No, it is not. This is a not rhinestone, a sequin piece that it's bugle beads and seed beads and sequins that I cut this off of some dress that I thrifted from a thrift shop that I think I thrifted it when I did a fashion show, and I wanted the dress for a base, the design cut up, and I that piece was pretty, and so I said, well, I don't want to get rid of that piece. It's so pretty. So that's what I did. Okay, so now as you can see, and I'm gonna clip this thread here. That works really well. Now, before I do all of that, I am going to glue the tie down to the denim part. In some spots because I want it to look like it's just layered. So I'm not gluing all the way on the edge of the tie because I do want it to look like that it's just floating on top of the denim, like it's two ties put together. I'm going to leave that open for a moment. So now this piece, if you can see where my chalk is, I know where I want to put this piece. I want it to fall just like that. So I'm going to put the glue right on this part. And sometimes with glue guns, you have to, until you get, when you add a new piece of glue, sometimes it doesn't come out. So you have to push down on the glue. Let's see. So again, the nice thing about glue, the hot glue gun, is that it adheres fairly quickly. But if you just got your nails done too, it's going to adhere to your nails. Okay, so I want to move that out of the way. Some of the glue got on that a little and on my little clip. They're plastic, so they will melt. So just be mindful of that. Okay, I got a little speck of glue that comes right off. Now, bugle beads can be glass. The real ones are glass, or they can be plastic. The better ones are made from glass. Okay, so we got that part of the project done. It's close enough to Christmas for bad Christmas crackers. Did Snowman say to the aggressive cat? I'll put that in there. Aiden Fable, that is hilarious. What did the snowman say to the aggressive carrot? Get out of my face. My family knows that I like corny jokes like that. That's hilarious. Okay, so now I am going to flip this over and I am going to glue this part down. I like projects like this because you know that nobody else, they may have something similar, but nobody else is gonna have your project, your design, because they would have to find everything exactly that you used, and that's almost an impossibility when you're talking about something like this. Okay, so that's where we are right now. That's what we have. So now I am going to, I think, glue this part down because there's nothing else. We already determined that, like, she had hers was really cute. She had hers come around like that. But since I'm putting this little embellish appliques up here, I'm not worrying about the rest of my tie. I'll use the rest of this for something else. Okay. So now we're going to go back to this little applique piece. And, oh, I like that. I like that just like that. I think I'm going to put it, no, I think I'm going to put it right underneath. I'm going to lean that up like that. And then this piece down here, there's a thread that I'm afraid to cut. It's right here. And it might be, let's see. Okay, it's just a thread. I didn't want to cut something that was holding beads together. In fact, I'm not going to cut it. I'm just going to move it over out of the way, because if it's holding beads together, I do not want those beads falling apart. Okay, so I'm going to pin this, and I have a lot of threads. I think that's where this came off from, I guess, when I took it off of whatever garment it was on. Okay, so I'm going to pin that down. I'm going to pin that down. I'm going to pin that down. Now, I think I am, hopefully I'll find a pin that will go here. If not, guess what? I will find another piece of this that I might put at the top of that. Like this little piece right here. But I don't think I can cut that off without the beads falling off. I cannot. Yeah, I don't think I have. What I'm looking at, I'm trying to see if there are any other pieces that I can take from this piece without the beads falling off, and there isn't. So right now I think I'm gonna save this piece for another project. Maybe I'll do the belt with this piece, make a coordinating tie and belt set. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, 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 triple dot. Okay, so now I've pinned this part. And as you can see, I'm close to where my chalk was. And again, I'm just going to brush that off. So what I am going to do, I could glue this on, but I'm going to be bougie right now. I know this project is a no-sew project, but what I am going to do, look, I might put that, ooh, I don't know, I may have to put that club room. That's kind of cute. Let's see. I might put the label right there. And it's looking like, let's see. Do y'all like the label there? Label or no label? Y'all help me decide. I'm not certain. No label, label. I think I kind of like the label. Let's see. What you think? I like the label too, so I think I'm gonna put the label there. Now I will glue that down. Let's see, make sure that's glue. Let's see. We'll give a nod to the label, the company that furnished our beautiful tie. Let's see. So we're gonna glue that down. And then with this little end, I am going to tuck that under just like that. That's why if you heard me say earlier, I didn't know if I was going to glue that down yet. This is why. So that when you go to do something like this, you can tack it under and then glue it down. So I'm just going to put a clip there for right now. So I think I like that. And then I'll go back and glue that down. So, and this is pretty heavy, y'all. It feels kind of heavy. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to stitch this, and I need some thread. I think I'm going to use some green, looks like green thread would work, because that's what color they used in the beading, because it has a green hue. The tie itself is like a green, a sage green and royal blue, and the beads have like a sage green, royal blue, and I think that's why they work so well. And that's why I hate throwing away stuff, because like I can't even tell you when I made that company's ties have never looked so good. I don't think a man, not a masculine man, is gonna want to wear this tie after this. It's like, no, I don't think so, babe. Okay, let me find some green. Oh, wow, perfect. That's gonna be perfect. So I found some green thread. So this is where I am going to hand sew. And I love hand sewing. Okay, where's my needle? There it is. And this is just a dual duty all-purpose thread by Coates and Clark. So it's a strong thread. So when I stitch something like this, and again, I think I shared with everyone last time, if you cut on an angle, anytime you're sewing with thread and you cut the thread on an angle, you're going to get a little peak on the thread to help you guide it through the needle. See, that went straight through. And I only use a single thread when I'm sewing something like this. And then if you wrap it around, kind of roll it and pull it, then you have a knot at the end. Let's see. You have a knot at the end. So I'm going to take this, and now I'm going to stitch underneath this to get my thread under there so it's not pulling out. And then I'm going to do what's called a back stitch to stitch this on, and I'm being gentle. I am not pulling, and I don't have to take like little teeny tiny stitches, but you do have to work on the flat surface for stuff like this. It's just easier. So I'm just going to keep weaving in and out of the design, and I'm using a single thread. I just learned how to do a back stitch for my cosplay stuff. That Yes, and I wonder who taught you how to do that back stitch. So I am just now, of course, if you don't sew and you got to this part and you wanted to glue it down, no shame. Part of this project was glued. So, but I just like this being sewn on. I just like hand sewing too. So it's not an issue. So now I can kind of pick this up now. And I'm just back stitching. I can remove that one, that pin, because it's already in place. So if you can see, I'm kind of picking up, going through the tie and this piece, and I'm back stitching it. I'm taking some pretty long stitches. So you see, that's not going anywhere. That's not going anywhere. So I am just gonna go, I'm using the shape to actually tell me where to sew it, where to go around the edge. And I'm trying not to pull the thread because I don't want it to buckle on the design. But I am using the edge of this design. There's a thread. But I am back stitching. Every time I go in, I'm going back to where I ended. That's why it's called a back stitch. And it's a very sturdy stitch. So now I'm getting around there. So I am going to keep stitching around. Thank you, Reaper. Thank you. I had no clue, as most of the time when you start working with something like this, you don't really have a clue like what you want to do. Now, I will tell you, well, I guess the pearls might look good. I might have a challenge with the pins because of the green. So I may have to add some pearls somewhere on here. So now this one, I'm trying to keep this on the edge. So I am going to break my back stitch and I'm going to stitch right along the edge because I want this to stay right on the edge of, okay, it's getting stuck. Okay, I want, oops, it's about to pull out. It was pulling out of my needle. And that happens sometimes, and you just rethread it and put it back on. Okay, I want this right on the edge of this. So that's why I'm stitching this on the edge. I stopped back stitching and I started doing a whip stitch. That's why it's good to have different stitch techniques in your arsenal to learn them, the hand stitches, because for different things you may decide to do something different. So like right here, I don't know if you guys can see that really well. I wanted this right on the edge of this piece. So that's why I'm stitching on the edge, because I wanted that to be right on the edge of that piece of denim to make it look like it's one piece. That's my thread. So I'm going to pull that through. And you want your thread to be long enough, but not too long where it starts to knot on you. If it's too long, it'll knot on you. and you don't want that. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back to back stitching, and because I'm using a thread that's close to the applique piece, you're not going to see these threads. And any threads that you see peeking out from the applique, poke them under. And there's a sheer part right here. I'm not going to stitch in there because I don't want my stitches to show. The whole thing about hand sewing is to hide your stitches. Before they had the invention of the sewing machine, if you ever get to a museum, I went to a little museum in Paris. I can't remember I know the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. I went there and they have a few garments, but there was a little museum in Paris that I went to not far from the Eiffel Tower. I don't remember the name of it. They had garments that were handmade. Oh my goodness, those garments were so beautiful. And guys, I can take this pin out because it's not holding anything anymore. It's pretty much sewn in place. And so now I'm back to back stitching in between and sewing this applique on. I'm coming to the end on this one, and then I'm gonna do the same thing to that top piece. And on this one, if this hangs off a little bit, that's okay. I will come back though and grab that. It looks like that might try to pull away, so I am going to come back, and I'm actually going to go up into, I'm going to come underneath, and I'm going to grab that bead to make sure that bead didn't get cut when I cut that piece off. I don't want to lose beads. Uh-oh. And this is, I may have to do that at another time. This needle, the head of the needle, I need to use, there are things called bead needles, and the head of the needle is not as wide, and this isn't that wide, but it's still too big. I might have some bead needles in my drawer. After I do this, I'm going to look and see if I have a bead needle so that I can show you. So it's good to use bead needles when you're working with beading because it'll go through the bead. And if these are glass beads, if you try to force the head of the needle through it, it will actually break the bead because it's glass. So I am going to back stitch right up and through there. So that's what that looks like. And to end this, I am going to go back in a couple of times, just anywhere. Okay. So now I am going to take my needle and I'm going to make a knot. This is how I make a knot. So when that makes a loop, now I'm going to stick that thread through like that. And there, that's a knot. That's going to keep that from coming off. And I'm going to actually do that twice to make sure that I have a good knot. And then I'm going to put my needle back into the fabric and come up to hide that thread. And then I am going to cut that off. And we have sewn that part on. Now, I am going to do this top part. I really love this tie. You're taking notes? Great. Now, if you're wondering why I pulled my thread out, is because this is too short to work with now. So I'm gonna grab another piece of thread, because the worst thing that can happen when you're sewing on something like this is that it falls apart. It pulls out of your needle. You don't have enough to keep going, and you still have to end up getting a new piece of thread. So now, and again, I'm working, it's two, but I'm only using a single thread. And this is a little, remember we talked about it being too long? I cut this a little long, so I'm just going to cut a little bit of that off, because I don't want my thread to get knotted when I start to sew this other piece of applique. Okay. So now I am going to put my needle in. So as you can, it pulled out. So I'm gonna go this way. I bet you won't come out this time. Okay, and then I have a little tail of thread that I want to hide. So I'm just gonna cut that little tail off close to the knot that I made. Okay, now I am going to start back stitching. So I'm back stitching, and my back stitches are not too short, but they're also not too long either. You don't need to make this process any more painful. Some people hate hand stitching. I love hand stitching. So that's what I'm doing. I'm back to back stitching. My thread is getting caught on some of the edges. Okay. And again, with the top of this tie, I think I'm gonna I might put a little piece of glue at the bottom here. We'll see. Oh, and you know what? I told you guys I was gonna put a spot of glue underneath the applique, but as you can see, I didn't. But you could if you wanted to hold it in place, but I wouldn't put it anywhere near the edge where you're going to be stitching, because going through hot glue does not work. It's too thick. It just makes a mess. There's a thread here that you may not be able to see. Okay, I pulled it out. Again, this applique I got from something that I had thrifted that had it up there, and I thought it was a beautiful piece. So anytime you're out, if you like thrifting, you may thrift something just for it, especially if it's not an expensive piece. If you see a beautiful applique like this, do you have any brooches or stuff you're going to put on it? Yes. As soon as I finish sewing this applique on, we're going to take a look at some of the brooches that I have and see which couple that I might want to use, because like you can use more than one brooch. So let's see. And right now I did not glue the top part of the tie down because I wasn't certain what I was going to do. I can always go back and glue something down, but it's hard to pull it apart. So on these pieces, I am just stitching. And it's getting caught on the sequin, so you just be careful, pull it around. Now I can take these straight pins out and just stitch around. And as you can see, this is going, even though it's hand sewing, it's not taking that long to hand sew these pieces. And again, I'm back stitching. Oops. And I just back stitched right out of my needle. So I am just going. The reason why I don't do, like you may have seen your grandmothers or your mothers kind of lick their tongue and lick it, is because that causes the thread to swell, and that keeps you from being able to put the thread in the eye of the needle. So you're actually working counter to what you're trying to do when you um, lick your tongue and then put the saliva on the thread. That sounds gross, doesn't it? You make this look so easy, but if I tried, it would be a hot mess. No, it would not. You and all about glam, I know, LOL, it would be a mess for me too. No, it won't. In fact, I could do a workshop where we do one together, and I'll be there to coach you through it. Anybody, we could do one. We could have a workshop and we could work on it together. We could even do a stream where we work on it together, and I could coach you through it. This is not hard. If you learn the basic stitches, it is not hard. Ooh, I think I'm gonna put some glue there too. But let me finish stitching. Let me not get ahead of myself. Okay. And I love kind of how that part sticks out from the edge. Everything isn't like straight on the edge. Like I told you, I really liked, for some reason, this little piece off of that pair of jeans. I eyed that when I was pulling the jeans. And then the back part of the tie is actually from another project that I did, the belt, where I cut the pants apart. And so that was just part of the leg that was left. So now on this one, I am going to go under. And then I'm going to come back up and get this little piece because I don't want it to lift up. Ouch. I just stuck myself. If you sew, you are going to get stuck. So don't even let me hear you complaining about getting stuck. That's one of the hazards of the job. Okay. And again, the person who designed this, Benjela Holmes, I pinned her name in the title so that you could go and follow her on Instagram. She has so many cute ideas, and she styles it, and I just like her whole vibe, and that's where I got the idea for this from. And again, I'm doing my own thing with it, but she gave me the inspiration, and that's what it is. It's all about when you're designing. You don't have to copy somebody exactly. You could do it your own way and still have it come out representing who you are and what you like to do. Okay, so now we are at the end, and I am going to tack this down, get my knots in here hidden. There's a little piece that I am going to cut off. If you have an outfit in mind that you want to do something like this for, you could go searching, thrifting for a tie. Actually, if you have a brother, an uncle, or anything like that, you seen what in so many cartoons. Seen that in so many cartoons. Okay, so let's see. So now I'm going to do like I did before. I'm going to make my knot. So when I make the knot, I'm really close to the last stitch that I made, and I'm making a loop. So if you can see the loop, and then I put the thread through the loop, and then I pull down. That causes it to create a knot. And then I do the same thing one more time and put the thread back where I last had the needle, make that loop, put the thread through it, and it knots. Now, I've done that twice. I am going to go back into this to go hide my thread. And I do that a couple of times because I don't want my thread coming out. And now you can see why I hate altering anything that I create, because I make sure it's sewn very well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a spot. I wish I had an English accent. I'm going to put a spot of glue right there to hold that down. And enough that where it's not going to ooze out and damage my garment or my project, my tie. Okay, let's go revisit this edge, and I am going to do the same thing under here. I'm going to put a spot of glue underneath this label, and then I'm going to fold it under like that. So I did that, and there's a piece of thread I want to cut. And I actually have smaller scissors for little things like that, because the big scissors, those are my cutting scissors, and they're really big for stuff like that. Okay, now I'm going to put glue underneath here. Now that I know that I've got that where I want it. And I'm going to glue that down. And I'm getting glue all over my fingers. It's kind of hard not to. Okay, so that's what we have so far. I should have I may have to go back and sew a Elvatanza label on this. I see outfits in my head that I don't have that will go with this tie. Oh my goodness. Oh, I am absolutely loving this tie. So now let's before I do the top part, I'm not going to do the top part yet. Let's play around. Let's see which brooches that I pulled out. Oh, I got glue all over this one. And again, we may use more than one. I'm going to pull out some that I showed earlier. Let's see. Ooh, I like that. And again, you can do... Actually, I like this going down. I like that on that part. So let's see which ones work together. Ooh, I like that one. But now keep in mind, let me pull the pearls out so that we could kind of see which one's going to pick up on the pearls. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh. Oh, you know what I forgot to do that I need to do? Yeah, you should definitely add the Elvitanza logo on it. Brand market yourself. I'll have to do that. Find a place for it. The one thing I forgot to do, which I'm going to use that other little piece that I might cut a piece. I forgot to scrunch the tie in at the top. So before I do the top, I need to do that. Pull it in some so that it gets that scrunched in part at the top. So I'm glad I left as much as I did. So that pin I think looks good. The club room, where it says club room, that is like a goldish color. So it picks up on the green and the gold. So that one looks good. Let's see. I don't like this. That looks cheesy. It's a earring. I don't like that. We're going to put that aside. Now, if I wanted, oh, this would be cute. Now, this is where I was saying that you could switch things up for the holidays. So let's say I like this faith pin, but then for the holidays, I had on gold. Look at how cute that looks. Or even up here, my little angel up there. But right now we're working with this. I think I like this one. I do like the gold. That one's pretty. I think it picks up the gold. And let's see, I would need something right here to pick up on that gold. Let me see if I have anything else. Would I use those two together? Could possibly use those two together. So I need you guys to vote. Oh, I definitely, oh my gosh, look at this. Oh my gosh. I definitely like the hanger. That is so cute. You see the hanger? I've got a late start tomorrow, so I can chill out a bit later tonight. Oh, cool. Let's see. Oh, this one is cute. Let's see. That, but I don't like that one as much. Not with this. I could do something like that. And this is what I'm saying. Like, because these are brooches, based on your outfit, you could always switch it up and make it different. But I am loving, for me, I am loving this faith pin right in the middle of that pocket. And I picked this up. I picked this up at a show that I did this summer. This girl was selling them, and it was kind of expensive, but I liked it, so I got it. So that's that one. And then because I got this other rhinestone, I really like that look. That to me looks great. The hanger is so cute. I think so. So I think for me, for this look, that's what we're going to do. And again, I can switch it up on a given day. I could put that. And I like that and the faith pin together. I think this one is going to be too heavy, just so that you can kind of see the options. That doesn't do anything to me. It's, to me, this one is fighting the other trim. I'm going to let you see the tiny one that I had. And I think this could probably, this is sterling silver, so this one could be brightened. I may try to clean that one. But that one is cute, and it picks up on the pearl. So I like that. And I want to see how I want to see how the crown looks. I didn't even, some of this stuff I didn't even know I had. It's a shame. Okay. Ooh, the crown is pretty too. That is so cute. I like the crown and faith, and I also like the I like the little hanger. The hanger is dainty. And so there are four pieces that I think work well with this piece. Now, I would not do this one. I like this piece, but I would not do that with this tie. It's just a bit too much. No polls yet. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. This is really shaping up. It looks amazing. Thank you so much. Polls, come on, guys. But no, this one doesn't work. This one does not work. So we can eliminate that. And I again, because of the sleek line, and this is a line, it's almost like a quilt. I like I like this one, the rhinestones, and I like the pin. And I also, to be bougie, I like the crown. I think the crown goes with faith because of, the crown. Yeah. And then, and I love the little hanger. Love the little hanger. I don't even remember where I bought the hanger. And I do love that piece because it goes with club room. So, but while we vote, and I do like this piece. So these are the four pieces, the 5 pins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the ones that I like. I think they look really cute together. Not all together. Not all together, but I do like those pins. They will work well. And what I will do is take pictures of the pins that work well together, and then that way when I'm styling this with one of my outfits, I can look through my pictures and say, hey, I think I want to use that particular pin with this design. So now what I need to do is I need to fix this top piece. Now, and again, I can tell you, I am probably going to go back and put a piece of um a piece of satin back here because I don't like the unfinished edge. That's just me. I think it would look so much prettier with a piece of satin on the back here. So if I were making this to sell, this inside would have been so neat already. That's quite all right. How would you style this like a simple basic top? Just watch. I am going to style it, and then I'm going to take pictures of how I styled it. It's going to be fabulous. Okay, so what I need to do is make sure that I have enough room for this to go through. So I'm just going to do something like that. And then I am going to pin it. And actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut a little, before I do that, if you can see this edge, I am going to peel this back. And I'm going to cut some of this. Now you can see what's in, guys, for the guys, talking about a guy convo. so that you can see what goes into some of your garments. It has this woven interface, and this is an interfacing, a thinner one, and then this is a interfacing that gives the tie some construction, and both of these are on the bias of the fabric, but it's making my top part bulky, so I am going to cut that off. I don't need that. I do want it in the top part, but for this part here I do not need it. So I cut it out, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to fold this over, and I'm going to get my little iron again, and I'm going to press that edge. You know what? I don't think I'm gonna press it. Nah, I'm gonna press it. I am gonna press it because I'm gonna stitch it under. I used to keep band notes in there in high school. Okay. And I'm going to put a little glue here too to hold that down because I didn't put that up here. And again, for those of you who join, I'm using a hot glue gun, and hot glue is actually washable. But we're not going to wash this tie unless you could spot clean it if you needed to. So what I'm going to do is fold this under, and then I am going to press that edge and fold it under. This is where sewing on the machine would come in handy, because I would just stitch this on the machine. But what I did was I cut all of that bulk away. And thank you guys for joining my stream. Even the guys, that's awesome to have some guys. Drop a chat for something you would like to see me. Maybe I'll do some type of design for a hat or something, or sew a hat or something that a guy would wear. Okay, so I've got that stitched down, so I'm gonna move my little iron out the way, and now I'm gonna fold this over. And I am going to glue that down a little bit. Ooh, I don't know what happened to my music. We were jamming. Let me see. Okay, it's coming back. I was about to say, we were jamming. Okay, and I'm using a straight pin to kind of pull this down because I don't want it all over my hands. This is the messy part. And that's why I think this part is a great candidate for sewing. It's getting stuck all to my straight pin. And I only put a little bit, like tacking it to hold it in place. No, I wore a shirt and tie, but I always wore a black shirt, black jeans, and a zipper hoodie with it, and my Dr. Martens, LOL, I would get pulled up by the head teacher constantly. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, so now I'm going to pull that over, and I am going to stitch that. And I'm going to use a whip stitch. Actually, I want to pin that like that. So that looks a little bit better. See, doesn't that look neater? And again, I off camera, I am going to put a backing on this because it just looks so unfinished to me. And again, if I were making this to sell, I definitely would do that. And I'm wondering, I might even before I do that, I might cut. I think I'm gonna cut a little bit more from the top of this. And I know I glued it, but I think I want to cut. And this is what I was saying about hot glue being hard to pull off. See, that's glued. I'm gonna pull it just a little. It's just gonna be just a little because this is glued. This is not going anywhere. It's like that the girl that glued her hair. My hair, it don't move. It don't move. This, it don't move. Okay, I'm just gonna cut a little bit because it is not going anywhere. And I mean, that's what we want. We don't want it to go anywhere once we've glued it. And I'm gonna move my mat. I don't need that anymore. Okay, so we're gonna pin that and stitch that down. And then what we're gonna do is put the scrunch it in after we do that. So we just want to make sure we've got room to put our pearls underneath there. So now I'm going to go back to my thread and I'm going to use a single thread. And I did do what I said the old folks used to do when they made knots. It's just a habit. Okay, this I'm doing little tiny stitches. And I'm making sure this is not coming in the front. Oh, and I need to back because I told you guys I would tell you how I washed these ties because I thrifted these ties. They were $2 and I did not want to put them in the cleaners, but I wanted them clean. So I used a lingerie detergent. I put them in cold water in the sink, and then I kind of squished them like this. Like if this is the tie, I did like this in the water. I did not squeeze the tie because then that would have wrinkled it. And so I just did like that, and I kept dunking it in the water as I was doing that to wash it. And then when I dried it, I took a towel, and with that towel, let's just say this was the towel. I took the towel and I patted it like that to get the water out. I did not wring the tie because that would have damaged it. So I just did like that, and then I hung them to dry. And even the one that I showed you that was silk, this one, you see how pretty that came out, and it still maintained its shape. So I've got this one for another project. And again, this one is was made in Korea from imported 100% silk. You can wash silk. You just cannot wring it and twist it and do all of that kind of stuff to it because you will damage it. So I'm taking on this one, I'm taking tinier stitches than I did on the front. And I know that Bengala, she glued this part down, which you can do as well. There are no rules to creating this design. And again, you've got to go check out hers because she still did some different things to hers that I think were beautiful. And I just loved it. I thought they were gorgeous. I love a lot of what she finds vintage. There are couple of people that she follow on whatnot, and if you know her, you follow her. You could tell her she could follow me too because I follow her. Oh, and I may even tag her in when I do the picture of this and post it. So there, I have hand stitched that part down. It looks very neat, which I'm all about neat. Your work looking neat. And again, I am going to go back. I'm telling you, I will show you. I am going to go back and I am going to put an overlay on this back part. And I will hand stitch that on. Now I am going back. I am going back the other direction just to make this stronger since I'm using a single ply of thread. And I'm doing that because I wanted it to be a fine stitch. And I could have done this on the sewing machine, but since we're handcrafting this, I figure I'd do it all by hand. Okay. So I'm just stitching the other direction. I went one way and now I'm going the other way just to make this more secure. We would hate to be wearing this and then it fell off, right? I'm going to actually style the sneakers that I made. I'm going to style this tie that I'm making. And then some of the belts that I'm going to make, I may stream that like from the top of the jeans that this was made from, that I cut like I said, this piece is two pairs of thrifted jeans. So I am going to not waste any piece of these jeans. Okay. There. So now I'm going to do like I did before. I'm going back in, and when you do that back and forth, you're creating a knot. And I am going to do the loop thing where I put the needle through the loop. And now I'm going to cut this thread. So now before I go on, I just want to make sure, here's my pearls. And I really need my loop turner so I could pull this through. Let's see. Come on. I'm trying to find the other end. Let's see. Let me see. If I had a safety pin, I have a loop, what's called a loop turner, and the loop turner would let me pull it through, or something that's called a bodkin actually helps to pull stuff like this through too. But let's see. I may have to get my loop turner. I don't think it's in here. Well, you know what? Until I can, I'm just going to do this for right now, because this one will go through easier. She said, this one will go through easier. Okay, I see what's happening. Boy, I'm not going to want to take that out. I see what's happening. The flaps is going inside the part that is open on the inside. I should have glued that down. So it's hiding. Come on. These are some of the things that you encounter when you're crafting and designing stuff. Okay, so I got that through. So we know that that fits. So I want to leave that like that. The reason why I wanted to get that through was because I wanted to scrunch this, and I wanted to make sure that I left room. Let's pin that. I'm gonna have to tack this part right there. I'm gonna put a pin there, and then on the other side where I'm going to put a pin. There, so now I'm going to eventually tack both of those sides, but I just wanted them in place so I'd know where I wanted to put the pinch. So now we are going to take this piece. Remember the inside? This is the part of the tie that the inside part of the tie slips in the back of to keep it from moving back and forth. So, but we're going to use this if it looks good. I think I'm going to take that out so I can scrunch this. So I took that out. So now we are going to scrunch the tie almost like a bow. Let's see. Like that. And then we're going to take this and wrap this around like that. Now I might want that thicker, so I don't know. I might use this piece, or I might use a piece of the top of the tie itself. Let's see. Let's see. I think I like the thinner. No, I like that. I think that looks cute. What do you think? I need a vote. Thick or thin? I think I like the thick better than the thin. So that's the thick. And then this was the thin. So thick or thin? That's thick. I need you to vote. I think I like the thick better. So I'm going to cut a piece. And I'm going to leave, I think I'm going to cut it at the top, closer to this side. I think I'm going to cut it right in through here. And right in through here. And then I'm going to scrunch it together like that. I'm pinching it together like that, and then I'm going to take this piece of the tie. I think what I'm going to do before I do that, this is a trick that I do when I make hair bows. Okay, I'm gonna take my needle, and again I am going to, I think this piece is long enough. I'm gonna knot it. So it's knotted, and now I am going to tack it. Right in the spot where I want it pinched, and then I am going to wrap this around it to hold that in place. So that's going to give me that pinched look, and then I'm going to tack it. I can take my straight pin out. Okay. Okay. So I just want that to hold that in place for right now. So now I have that like that. I'm going to take the piece that I cut, like that, and pinch it in. And again, because I don't need all of this bulk, I am going to cut most of this bulk away. I'm going to leave it in the center, but I'm going to cut it away on the ends because I don't need that on the back. It's just too bulky. I just want it in the front to keep the knot looking really cute and smooth. So now I'm going to turn that back around. And I'm going to pull that in. And like a hair bow, I'm going to wrap that around. I'm going to trim some more of this off. Don't cut the straight pin, you'll ruin your scissors. Okay. So now that I've got that, if you look at, for the ladies in the stream, if you look at some hair bows, this is how that little knot in the hair bow is made. Same concept. Okay. Okay. So now let's turn it over, and there. Take that out. Take that out. So now we have the top part, and that is done. We're gonna hand stitch this part. We got some clip-ins there that we don't need. Let's see. So we are going to poke that in. And then we are going to stitch that by hand. So we've got that. And I definitely need to rethread my needle. And again, when I'm cutting the thread, I'm cutting it on an angle so that when I put it in the needle, it goes straight through the needle. And because I want this this thread a little bit sturdier, I'm going to do 2 threads this time. I'm not going to just do 1. So I have 2 strands of thread. So now I'm just going to put this in. Where is my phone? Where is my phone? Oh. So okay, so I am stitching this. Let's see. And I have a little frayed piece of thread that I'm pulling off back there. Okay, so if you could see this right here, that piece of thread, in order to get it pulled in, I'm just going to do a whip stitch on the edge. And then I'm going to take this needle out, or this pin, straight pin. And again, I don't want this to knot up, so I'm just going to pull. I'm going to take this straight pin out because it held it where it needed, and I'm pushing up all of those frayed edges. And you could be using a thimble for hand sewing so that your hand doesn't get poked, your neat finger doesn't get poked with the thread. But I'm not really pushing it hard with my ring finger. Okay, so now I'm going back in like I've shown you before. And then right here, I am going to poke that under again and then stitch that down. It's still trying to pull up. I'm going to go back in and catch that. Okay, so now we got that. All right. So there we have it. Can you see? Oh, wait, before I switch, I'm gonna put the pins in. So we have this with the little knot, and I do like the knot there. And I like this pin, and I'm gonna put it in going down. Okay, so we got that on. And now I'm going to put, let's see, which one? Oh, the little, I think I'm gonna stick it through there. The little hanger. sweetie. There. And there we have, oh, thank you. So here is the finished tie. No pun intended, Shadow Hawk. So if we were to, let's see, so that's the, oops, that's the finished tie. And let's see if I could stick it back in. I may have, that may bug me, and I may have to, believe it or not, take it out to just close up the place where it's getting stuck on the inside. I know better. Okay. There you have it. And I think I'm gonna put a little dot of glue right there, but that is the finished product. So and again, for me, I am going to put a piece of fabric back here to make that look so nice. And that is it. I love it. And it's a good weight, so it's gonna hold up really nicely. So I want to see what it looks like. I want to show you what it looks like with the other pin that I liked. Although I like this, the little hanger, since that's just me. That's so me. I also like this one, which I think it looks great with. And depending on how I style it, that looks nice too. So I like both of those. I like both of those with it. I think it looks so cute. I love the way it turned out. Now I think I'm going to put a spot. Let me put my needle away. I'm forever losing my needles. I think I'm going to put a spot of glue in here so that that is glued down, and then on the other side as well. So this will look nice with this let's see if I can, with this neck piece or with pearls. So let me put a spot of glue in there. You know, the best part of working on something like this is seeing the final project and how it all came together. And I think for me, because of the, oh, I had a brush, and this is where I told you that the chalk would come off. I'm just able to brush off that extra chalk that I had up there. But I think because this looks so fancy because of the appliques, I think clean finishing the edges for me, for this particular one works. Now I think I'm gonna do one where the raw edge is on the outside, but I totally like this look too. It looks so professional, so clean, and you see that you could do this. This is not something that you cannot do. And again, I think it's going to look cute with pearls, with the pearls that I had here that I was having a problem pulling through. I'll have to use my um, loop turner to pull it through, but I really like that. And again, if when I line the back of this, I am going to use some lining fabric, and that way it's not any thicker, because this is a heavy piece. This is really a heavy piece. So does anybody have any questions? If so, let me know in the chat. And that is it. Oh, before I do that, let's look at what the crown looks like on it. We see what that one looks like. Let's see what the crown looks like on it, because the crown was pretty too. Now the only problem with pins going through the tie is that they leave little prick marks, but hopefully because it's woven, actually they're brushing out. So my recommendation, if you do something like this, after you wear it, take the pins out. Don't let them stay in all the time, because then it's gonna leave holes, little holes. So that's what it looks like with the crown. So that's what it looks like with the crown. Yes, I bought all of these ties from my local women's shelter. I bought this one. I bought this one that we cut up. And then I had a silk and the silk one. And I have one more that I need to wash. And this silk one I bought. And then this is what I'm talking about, the lining. See how they have it lined on the inside? That's what I'm going to do to this one, just to clean finish it. I feel like taking this lining out of this one and using it. But I won't do that. I won't do that. So there you have it. Thank you so much for joining So What tonight. So what? So what? We made a tie and did it by hand, and we used hot glue. No, it's not haute couture because we use glue. You would not use glue on a haute couture garment. Everything would be hand done. But this is just fun. It's just crafting, and I love it, and I will style it, and I will post it. So have a great night. Let's see. We need a So What theme song. Yes, we do. We need to come up with a So What theme song. So what? Have a wonderful, wonderful night. And I look forward to seeing you on the next stream. And if you have some comments about what you would like to see, let me know. And we will just continue to have fun. So, thanks, guys. Take care.